The Ancients World. Chapter 121, Last Night with My Family. I don't have any idea who that guy is, but I have no interest in what he has to say or talk about. Now that he is gone, I can focus on my family. He'll be sorely disappointed that I'm going to be a no-show at the hospital tomorrow. I'm going to spend this last night with my family and leave for my continent tomorrow with Haley in the morning. I should use my reward to find out where I'm going. I open the request form from the system and ask it which way I need to go to get back to my original continent. I send the request and there is a slight delay before anything shows up. I get my message from the system and I open it. What I read makes me sick to my stomach. I can't believe how far it is. To get back to your original continent you must head 14,000 miles east. This will take at least 4 days to cover, and that's with non-stop flight. With breaks it's going to take around 6 or 7. This is both disappointing and surprising. It is the only option I have right now. It is getting late and the sun is setting. This is going to be the last night I have with my family. I won't be seeing most of them for a very long time. I don't want to bring down the good mood right now, but it has to happen. My parents look at me with sadness. In reality I got here just a little bit ago. Now I'm already leaving. Haley and I will be leaving first light tomorrow. So this is going to be the last time we see you guys for a while. I watch my mother's face cringe in pain. I never like causing her pain, but this is a new life. I have things I want to do and see. I'll be gaining strength faster now. It's a very bittersweet moment, but life has them. I lean back in my chair and take a breath. I have been going and going without a break, with taking any time to really rest. Only a couple hours here and there, and I won't lie. It's weighing down on me, mentally. This journey will be my longest one yet, and I'm extremely happy I don't have to do it alone. Do we have to leave right when the sun rises? I'd like to spend more time together as a family before we go. Can we wait a couple days? I understand and sympathize with her words. Haley is right in this situation. We should stay here a few days and spend time with our family. We aren't going to do the right thing though, we are leaving to be our own people. The longer we stay with mom and dad the more appealing it is to stay with them. I look at her and she already understands what I'm thinking. We are leaving tomorrow morning, Haley, it's time for us to go. Mom and dad will be starting a new chapter, and I'm not going to get in the way of that. You shouldn't either. Haley silently agrees with my words. Mom and Dad will be on a new adventure together with Marcus. Both Haley and I have had ample time with Mom and Dad. This is a perfect chance for Marcus to get the same amount of time and treatment we did. I do want to spend time with you guys. So that only leaves one question. You guys still got the shattering decks? I don't have one on me, but we are going to be able to share and take turns. When I ask them that, everyone except Marcus and I pull a deck out from their inventories. I move the old desk in the room between the two beds. Everyone sits on the beds, using them like chairs. We'll play until we are too tired. I want to have some fun. Everyone smiles at my words and we get into playing. While the T.A.W family spend one last night together, the guild leader that visited earlier is talking with his members. Sir Ericsson is having a very private conversation with people that know the real truth behind Zirn. I look at my members and silently pray for the rest that are lost throughout this word. We have found him. We have actually found the divine class wielder. This is a great day, my friends. I'm meeting him tomorrow afternoon at the local abandoned hospital. I'll be going alone like last time. I want you guys guarding the area so no interrupts our conversation. This might be the only chance I'll get to recruit him. Everyone around me nods their heads. This is going to be my most challenging recruitment ever. If I can succeed, then that only secures Steel Legion's future. We will thrive in this new world if we can get him to join us. I make my way out of our secret meeting place. It's a nice secluded location under an old restaurant. I make my way to the street and start walking to the community building. It's a makeshift market that the players have made to trade stuff with each other in the city. The area is packed right now with people bartering and selling. With the arrival of monsters and dungeons, the people have gotten a shot of life, while it's a risk to fight. The drops and rewards from fighting monsters works the same way. Many players are coming out of their shells and getting over their fears. That's good for everyone. If we work hard enough, we'll be able to find and fix the teleporter. I don't know how long it will take, but it's a possibility now. With the help of Zirn, I'm sure that we can be the first players back on the original continents. I walk into the old community center and appreciate the size it has. A place to have this sort of trade was dire, and now we have one. With the sun almost down, most people will be going to bed. I will be doing so as well. I have a private room in this place. In truth, it's an old office that I made into a room. Sir Ericsson. How are you doing today? I hear the voice of one of the younger players. A boy named Gizmo, not even past 14. I found that thing you wanted. I suddenly start to panic. I don't want anyone else knowing about that. I hold a finger over my lips to indicate silence. He sees and stops yelling. Gizmo is a wielder of a legacy class, but it isn't a combat one. His class allows him to track down rare and unique materials. Whether it be an herb or an ore, even when something is buried deep underground, he can find it. He has been my newest recruit. He was hiding his class from others so he wouldn't be taken advantage of. I made him a deal. He joins my guild and I provide protection and a supply of gold. While I can't pay him yet, I'm making sure he is getting paid in food and water for now. Let's go up to my room. I already have someone waiting there for me. I really lucked out. My wife, Riley, is a player too, and she has been playing Ancient's World with me since the beginning. We both make our way to the stairs and make our way up my room. We eventually reach my room and I open it. I see my wife going through some things that Gizmo has brought us. We have both aged back into our mid-20s. It is sad I won't be growing old with her anytime soon, but in a way this is better. We'll get even more time together. Being married for 30 years can do a lot. Now that we both have our youth back, let's just say we've broken the proverbial bed. I walk up behind her and kiss the back of her head. I look at the things Gizmo has brought us and it's everything we need. You did perfect, Giz, you got everything we needed. Now we can craft the device. Riley is a smith, but not just any smith. She is a legendary smith. She isn't what you would call a normal blacksmith. She can create really obscure things, and she is my ace in the hole when it comes to fixing the teleporter. While these two are both amazing for the guild, they are non-combatants. It will help when we get the proper materials to make good weapons, but that won't be for a while. We don't even have a forge, so Riley is limited with what she can do. She looks to be almost done putting the pieces together. I watch her work and it's one of the most attractive things to me. I love her for a lot of reasons, but the biggest is because of her work ethic. She is beautiful, and smart. However, nothing is more attractive to me than a strong woman. Riley is every bit of that and more. When do you think you would be able to use it? This device plays a critical role in finding where the teleport gate is, and once we find the teleporter gate we can start looking for pieces to repair it. That is where my wife will take over. Everything is going so good right now. If Zirn joins my guild, nobody will stop us. Chapter 122, Heading Out. We spent many hours playing and hanging out. Eventually we all had enough and gave in to sleep. It's very late and dark. I'm on the edge of sleep as my thoughts drift between the things I need to do. Out of all the things I have to do, the most important is my divine mana aura. I have many quests to do. The most important after my divine mana aura is the Dryads. Freeing them will be way harder than the Fairy Kingdom. If anything, it will be the quest I get my first death. I plan on using my lore tablet for my divine quest. If it turns out I don't need it, then that's even better. I don't know much about Belvia. The fact they were involved makes me wary even now. Who's to say that they still aren't involved in anything? I close my eyes and sleep deeply. I have dreams of many things. Some of them I can explain, others I can't. I feel a heat on my face and I open my eyes, I look towards the light and I see a beautiful sunrise encroaching on the city. I lean up and stretch my body, areas pop and loosen up. I stand up and walk over to the window and look out over the ruined city and the amazing scenery. It's going to be a good day to fly. I'm worried if Haley will be okay with flying so high and fast. She has never been flying like I have, and it's going to be scarier for her than other ways to fly. She'll have to ride on my back. It's a good thing I'm so much taller than her. It will be a comfortable ride, and a very long one. 14,000 miles is a lot of distance, but totally doable for me. I hear movement behind me and I turn to look. Everyone else is getting woken up from the sunlight as well. I can already see the sorrowful expressions on my family realizing what's happening. You guys want to go to the roof with me? It will be a great view to watch the sunrise. I look at them and see the tiredness in their eyes. Come on, it'll be fun. I start to walk towards the door and everyone follows behind me. We make our way towards the stairwell and make our way to the top floor. It's mostly empty, there are some rooms being occupied though. We make it to the end of the hall and see the single 21 steps that lead to the roof. I walk up the stairs and open the old door, I walk out onto the smooth concrete and metal roof. My family follows and joins me looking out over the massive city as the sun casts its rays of light and heat over it. I look over the edge and see the long way down, I can see players already up and heading outside the city. Seems some aren't letting the current situation affect them anymore, player moving out and leveling up is a good thing. Do you think that we'll make it back to the continent to see you guys within the year? I turn my head to my right and look at my mom after her question. She looks so sad and disappointed, only a mother can make you feel bad about growing up. I move over to her and wrap her in a one-armed hug. She just puts her face in my chest and starts to cry. Letting women cry is a must, it's a way to express and get rid of their pain. I look to the rest of my family as my mother weeps. This is a perfect place to leave and start our journey. You'll be back on our original continent before you know it. I want you guys to promise that you'll have fun, life isn't so gloomy. Just because we are stuck here doesn't mean it's the end. I let go of my mom as she wipes her eyes. I make it to the edge and take a seat with my feet hanging off. This is where Haley and I will leave from. I wasn't planning on letting you guys know my secret, but I have a feeling it's already getting around. When I finish saying that, I toggle my wings on and they spring out my back. Powerful, long, and fearsome. I look back at my family and see their shocked faces. My sister is the first to come forward and she starts to touch them. She is completely distracted by them. The rest are looking at me with apprehension. Sweetie, are you? I nod my head yes before she can finish saying what she wanted to say. I have nothing to worry about then. I'm really glad. My mother's voice starts to shake again and my dad hugs her to calm her down. When a kid leaves the nest, a mother is always going to cry, it can't be stopped. I look at Haley as she continues to mess with my wings. I get that they're cool, but no need to look at them like that. She looks like she wants to take them for herself. I don't think she'll hold off on questions for long. Once she gets over her amazement, she'll be all over me like white on rice. I walk over to my family and hug them. Haley catches up and joins as well. I wrap my wings around them to make sure I get all of them. I pull away and look at my sister. You ready to leave? It's going to be a long trip and we'll be traveling together for a while. She nods her head in excitement. Before I make my final approach to the edge of the building, I kiss my mom on the forehead. She tries her absolute hardest to stay composed, but the fears break free. I make my way to the edge and kneel down. Hop on, sis. We got an adventure to take. She gets on my back and wraps her legs around my waist and arms under my armpits. I spread out my wings to their longest length and flap hard off the building. We approach the clouds fast, but I'm going deaf as my sister scream. I'm going to fall off. I leave out once we are above the clouds and she is now in an upright position. Her butt is right above mine and she has her hand right below where my wings come out so she can support herself. I chuckle as she is slightly hyperventilating. You could have warned me about the speed, you asshat. She leans in closer and smacks the back of my head. She isn't going to like this then. I burst forward in speed and she is losing it. She sounds like a scared little girl. I laugh harder as I slow down. Blarg, she throws up over the left side of me as it falls to the earth. This is going to be a fun trip. We'll fly for 14 hours a day. If we reach an ocean then we will take a full day of rest before we cross it. Let me know it you need to use the bathroom and I'll bring us down. She remains silent as I talk to her. I can feel a very slight wetness on my lower back. I can't believe she peed on me. I dive down fast and she screams even louder. As soon as I land she hops off my back and runs behind the closest tree. I hear her give a sigh of relief and a stream of water hitting the ground. Next time don't pee on the person giving you a free ride. She just growls from behind the tree. I chuckle to myself. After another 10 seconds she come out from behind the tree with a red face, both from embarrassment and anger. She rushes me and slugs me hard on the chest, but she recoils in pain as I hear a crack from her hand. You are a jerk, Sarah. I'll let all of it go if you pull that shit again. I felt like I was going to die. If you are going to speed up or dive at any point say something beforehand, you ass. I chuckle and just kneel down for her. She gets back in the same spot and I take off at a high speed again. She didn't scream this time, which is nice. I level out above the clouds and take a moderate speed. She gets back in her upright position and stays quiet. I start to hear her laugh after a few seconds, and full on yelling in joy. This is awesome. I've never felt so free in my entire life. She lifts her hands of my back and spreads them out mimicking wings. I'm glad I'm not alone on this trip. Chapter 123, A Skipped Meeting. As Sarah and Haley start their 14,000-mile journey, the other members of the T.A.W family are back in their room talking. The silence is palpable, and the first one to start talking is Chris. I look to my wife and youngest son. The one I'm most worried about is Violet. She lives for her family, and so do I. Now that two of our oldest are gone, it's hard to find anything to say that isn't about them. They aren't our responsibility anymore, their lives are their own. I walk over and sit next to my wife, and I just hug her. I run some of my fingers through her hair and just rock her slightly. She wraps her arms around me and gives me a big squeeze. I hate seeing the love of my life like this. Part of raising a child is seeing them off. We did good raising them, and we taught them how to be good people. I look to Marcus as I hold Violet and I see his sad face. Out of our 3 kids he is the only one that we have left. Once he is gone, we'll be right back where we started. I personally think it's great that we are back to our youthful selves. We are going to have to find a way to fill the time, aren't we? I can't believe how fast they grew up. If I didn't become young again then I'd feel like an old woman. My wife speaks true, I feel like an old man despite not being middle again anymore. We are lucky no matter how you look at this entire situation. Sure, we lost friends and family. The ones that mattered most to us made it though. If this new world has taught me anything in the short time I've been here, it's that anything is possible. Violet and I can start our own adventure here, help rebuild the teleporter. I let go of my wife and look her right in the eyes. What do you want to do first? There are so many things we can try now that we are higher levels. We can go hunt monsters or search for dungeons. I even heard that the community center is being used as a trade center for the players in the city. We can do anything you want for as long as we want. Time is on our side and we have plenty of it. I want to have so much fun with you, sweetheart, get to do the things that couples never thought they would be allowed to do. How cool is it that we get to be like this? I gesture to all of us, young and nimble. Having the potential to do anything. I watch her tears stop falling and she wipes them off her face. She stands up and walks over to Marcus. She picks him up and looks back to me. I want to go and fight some monsters together. The only way we'll be able to do all the things I want to do is if we are strong enough. So where should we head to first? She looks at me with determination, and I'll admit that is one of her best looks. It's the same look she had when each of the kids were born and she held them for the first time. I stand up and walk to her. I kiss the top of her head multiple times and look to Marcus. Violet does the same thing and covers him in kisses. His face is red in embarrassment, but he has a big smile on his face. So sweetie? You want to go on an adventure with Dad and me? My wife asks him the question and he nods his head yes with excitement. I don't know where we should start, but finding out is part of the adventure. I interlock my fingers with my wife and make our way to the door. While Violet and Chris start their day today, there is also someone starting theirs. This person is the man who made a meeting with Zirn and is intent on being on time. I don't want there to be any reason he wants to reject my offer. If I can succeed here, everything will be perfect for growth. I'm walking around the player-made market in the old community center and seeing if there are any new faces. There has been an increase of activity as of late from the players. This is a great way to make progress and strive to get back to where we were. Sir Erickson. Care to have a drink with us? Jennifer made a brewery from spare parts she found. Isn't she the smartest girl alive? Of course Jack would brag. She's his daughter after all. That is quite impressive though, made it from her own ingenuity. If my memory serves me right, Jennifer has an epic builder class. It isn't near the same level as my wife, but she is going to helpful to a lot of people. I can't, I'm afraid. I have an important meeting to get to. I'll come back and celebrate with you when I'm done. He just give me a big smile and a thumbs up sign. Jack is a good man with a clean heart. His whole family was dusted except his daughter. The players have come up with a term for people before this transfer happened. I think it's very ingenious, but also very insensitive. So it has been reduced to a derogatory term. Many players have killed each other over and over again from this term. I like the cleverness, but I won't be using it when I talk directly to people. For all I know, it could cause major problems for me in the future if I started using it. I make my way out of the trade center and onto the roads. The streets are now full of players in parties and monster hunting instead of hiding in the shadows. It's almost reminiscent of the times before we lost our world. People are actually smiling and having a good time. This is going to be a bustling little community in no time. Los Angeles is a big city and this is the home of millions that play. We probably have one of the biggest communities of English speakers. I make my way to the hospital and see some of my guild mates already here waiting. The looks on their faces isn't something I was expecting though. They look like they have bad news. I walk up to them and just nod my head for them to start. Zirn is no longer in Los Angeles. Many of our scouts that were watching him saw him fly away. He took his sister with him. Best guess is that he's heading back to his original continent. I am at a loss for words. Zirn has the ability to fly, and that explains some of my suspicions. I look at him hard to continue. He used giant wings to fly, sir. He and his sister left his parents and little brother behind. Now that's another option. If I can't get Zirn, then I'll recruit his family. If he has a personal connection with my guild, that is just as good. This entire plan is a bust, but I'm not one of the best guild leaders for no reason. I want you to report to me when you see the family at their room again. I doubt that they will talk to all of us, so I'll speak to them myself. This might be better in the end. Many will not expect something like this. How many know that Zirn is the divine class holder now? It could prove problematic if word spreads too quickly. My men look at me with disappointment. Guess word spread fast. People are smart and give them enough time, they will put it together. I walk away from my men and start heading back to the trade center. I make it back and head straight to where Jack is. I want a drink after all these changes of plans. Jack sees me and waves me over. This time I approach and he can see my sour expression. Instead of saying anything, he just hands me a pitcher and cheers glasses with me. I suck down half of it before I pull away. I take it you meeting didn't go well. My wife always to me to be there when my friends needed me to, so if you need my help just ask. He leans back in his chair and starts sending glares to all the guys around the bar that are staring at his daughter. I would be the same way if I had a daughter and men were looking at her like this. I swear these guys are animals, it's like a pack of monkeys after the last beautiful banana in the forest. I laugh at Jack's comparison. As long as Jennifer is in a public place she has nothing to worry about. I guess now all I can do is wait. Chapter 124, The 14,000-Mile Journey. Haley has been quiet for the last couple of hours, and the only noise she has made is the rumbling coming from her stomach. I'll admit that I'm very hungry myself. I still have dried meat that is fresh and ready to be eaten, so now might be a good time to head down and get our fill. The main problem about this journey other than the distance is the food and water situation. I'm diving down. I want to eat, I'm starving. She leans on me as I dive fast to the ground and land smoothly. She hops off and fixes her hair. I keep my wings out since I'm isolated, Haley probably won't mind they are out. We walk a little till we find a nice spot. I take a seat and go into my inventory. I have enough dried meat to last a few days between us. We'll have to hunt for food after my supplies run out, going to be interesting hunting with my sister. Here, this should fill you up for now. Keep your eyes out for a stream or pond. We'll stop for water, I don't have any on me. I hand her the dried meat and tear it apart. She was hungrier than I thought. I start into mine as well and enjoy the much-needed protein. So what do you plan to do once you get your legendary class? You will have a lot of power and authority. You will be able to make whatever demands you want from guilds. She looks at with a thoughtful expression. She will be able to do anything she wants. The known amount of legendary classes is low, and I'm only knowledgeable about a couple of them. There are possibly way more than I know about. Some get announced and others don't. She looks at me with a small smile. I want to know more about your class. I don't even have mine yet, so no reason to talk about it. Sly girl. Trying to get to know more about my class, she looks at my beautiful and powerful wings and has a small look of envy. The fact that you can fly so fast and far makes me want to have a flying class. Do you think my legendary class will have a flying ability? From what I remember, Battle Mind doesn't have a flying ability. Battle Mind has many great passive and active skills. I can see that she will fit with it perfectly. Being a duelist, she fits the criteria. I don't know much lore about the class, only that it's something that countries highly respect. Apparently a battle mind is regarded as a one-in-a-millennium occurrence. 1,000 years is a long time for a class to not be wielded. I rub the back of my head and sigh. I don't believe your class will be able to fly. Most legendary and divine classes are hard to find because they are marked as common quests. People treat them as junk and ignore them. It's quite an ingenious mechanic, it lowers the amount by rare classes and makes a huge gap in power. For example, my class has amazing stats boosts and passives, but I had to deal with a half EXP debuff. I'm still not even allowed to join guilds. That's the reason I sold that guild token for our fortune. She looks at me and just shakes her head. I'm going to tell you an important secret about classes, Haley, and make sure you listen. She focuses on me and nods her head yes. Every class that is above legacy is more special than people give them credit for. There are common things that occur in epic and lower classes, but legacy and higher can't be compared. Not all is known about how classes function, but one thing is for sure. If you get a class above epic, you will be set for life. She is listening very intently. We are very similar in wanting to know about things important to us. She looks at my wings again and just sighs with slight jealousy. I can say that is a fair reaction, the convenience of these wings is unbelievable. So what kind of benefits do you have being the son of Archangel Michael? From all the rumors and conspiracies I've heard, you have a lot of special treatment. She isn't wrong in saying that. I do get special treatment, and it's both good and bad at times. Will I get special treatment like you when I get my legendary class? I'd really like to use any power I have to help the players get back to their original continents. She is making a good point. If I wanted to, I could have the church help me bring the players back, but that will surely reveal my identity. I won't risk something like that while I'm still weak. I look at her with calculated eyes. I could help Haley on her possible idea. She can't do as much as I could, but working together we could succeed. You make a great point, and you could use any influence you gain. You wouldn't have as much as me, but you would be able to help the players. A legendary class just has that kind of authority. If you are serious about that, then contemplate on it more. We have plenty of time before we even reach our continent. In the end, this could be the way players get back way faster. I wouldn't have thought of this myself since I'm very private and don't want the attention, but my sister loves attention. Not in an unhealthy way, more in a way that is endearing. I should also spend time thinking about it. We both finish eating and are satisfied food-wise, however water is going to be a problem. I stand up and so does my sister. I kneel down and she climbs on my back. I push off the ground hard and we are already above the clouds. I hear my sister's heavy breaths from the pressure and increase in G-force. I level out and slow down, she starts to breathe normally. Keep your eyes open for any water, streams preferably. However, if you see a pond, don't be quiet about it. She doesn't respond, but I know she heard me. That's all I really need. While Sarah and Haley are traveling, an NPC by the name of Creelder is meeting up with a couple of old friends. This NPC is special because he is one of the only known NPCs with a legendary class. It's going to be nice to see my old friends Ghost Zero and Creature Man. Zelly raised many of us in that shack, and after I heard that they killed Clintock, I had to track them down. While I could have killed him myself, he set up a magic barrier around the city. If I were to ever step foot in it again, he would instantly kill Zelly, and I couldn't risk that. He underestimated my brothers though, he was so focused on me he was blind to what was going on with them. The three of us will be meeting up to discuss the more important things, like where the rest of our orphan brothers and sisters are. While we are all grown up and powerful, I doubt that we'll see everyone in the same place again. I have a couple more days until I reach the destination, but knowing those two, they are already waiting and having a good time without me. The one I'm most excited to see is Zelly. She raised so many of us on her own. She now gets to reap the benefits of doing such a great job with us. She sacrificed so many things to keep us safe. She gave her health, her time, and her body. Just thinking about what they did to her every day in front of us makes me so. That time is over, and she is safe with them. If I ever do see any of those ugly faces again, I'll take my sweet time. I'll show them real pain, pay them back for what they did to her. The days have been quieter with the new people disappearing, but it's known they aren't gone. The church gets regular updates about them and makes sure we all hear them too. A lot of new people have been killed by my hand. They are quite annoying. The most annoying part about them is they don't stay dead and they always come back for more. It's like they like pain and death. Talk about a bunch of weirdos. Out of all the new people, the most interesting to me is the son. As the grandson of the Almighty Father, he is sure to have a lot of power. Not even his true name is known though. Perhaps we'll meet each other one day, as both friends and rivals. Speaking of rivals, Ghost Zero still wants that rematch. Now that he has a legacy class, he'll probably challenge me to another fight. He is no fool or weakling. Despite the power gap in classes, his cunning fighting will cause tremendous problems. Creature Man has never been one to test his mettle against others in combat. He prefers to take on challenges in a different form. Robbing some of the wealthiest people in history does that. He far outclasses us in terms of silence, assassination, and thievery. Seeing him after so many years will be awesome. Both of them were inseparable. We made a great team growing up, and now it's time to start this team again. Chapter 125, The 14,000-Mile Journey 2. We have been flying for several hours and night is beginning to descend. We didn't find any water throughout the entire time we were traveling. Hopefully we come across some tomorrow, without it we'll start having trouble. I'm going to take us down for the night, we'll start again tomorrow after sunrise. I have food to last both of us a few days, but without water we'll dehydrate and eventually die. She'll perish much sooner than me, since my stats are so much higher. I don't need food and water that often. I do still need it though, and I'm getting very thirsty. We have no idea when the next time we'll get to have water. So make sure you prepare mentally for the worst. She looks at me strangely. I wasn't specific enough, I was hoping that I wouldn't have to spell it out for her. If we can't find water then we'll have to drink our own pee. I know it's disgusting, but if needed we will do it. I watch her face morph between disgust and fear. Any person wouldn't want to drink their own pee. If the situation calls for it I'll do whatever it takes to succeed. I'd rather drink my own pee than die, and I'm sure others would too. I am not doing that, Sarah. I'd sooner die than drink my own urine. You can forget about that, so we either find water or you take me back. The stubborn attitude that runs through our veins is going to be a problem. Switching topics, how much further do we have to go? I'd like to know how much longer I have to ride on your back. I like flying. Just not on my brother's back. I rub my temple and take a breath. Traveling with my sister may have been a bad idea, but it's too late to back out now. We are already a good distance away. It could be farther, but flying at full speed is a no when Haley is hitching a ride. Come on, there is no reason to look so frustrated. You need to learn that while you are powerful, others are not. We have to work together if I'm to make it alive. I'm sure you could make it no problem with your power, but I'm squishy compared to you. She brings up a good point, and while I don't like it, I have to take care of her in the places she falls. I just dive forward and land to get her to stop talking. She gets off and looks at me a little mad. I'm too mentally exhausted from her to even continue talking. I start to walk and she follows. We find a nice spot and I set up the only tent we have. About your question earlier. We made some good progress. The marker is saying 12,988 miles to go. At this rate it will take us 2 weeks to get there. If you let me go full speed we could get there in a few days. I look at her and she looks very apprehensive about flying at 430 miles per hour, even if she fell off I'd be able to catch her. She is just scared and that's okay. We'll have to share this tent, we only have one between the two of us. So if you're a snuggle type let me know now. I'd rather not find out later. She just looks at me stupid and starts to laugh, not hard or gentle. Just a calm laugh. I'm glad she finds it funny. The last time Haley and I shared a room was before we moved into the old house. She is only a couple years older than me. I don't have very many memories of that time, and I'm sure Haley doesn't either. The only thing I do remember is how much she farted in her sleep. Hopefully she still doesn't have that habit. Being in an enclosed tent as she rips them sounds dangerous to me. I don't want to wake up with my eyes burning. I'm not a cuddle type, but if you want your big sister to help you feel safe I'm more than willing to help. Her jokes are the worst, can't say mine are much better though. Our family is many thing, comedians is not one of them. I'll think about the speed thing, for now let's set up a fire and rest. I'm tired and I didn't even do anything today, I can only guess how tired you are. I'm not tired physically, mentally I'm ready to lay down and die. We make a fire in just a few minutes and I pull out some dried meat and hand her some as we sit. What type of meat is this anyway? It's really good. It's deer meat, but all we've ever had was beef or sausage. The dark part about this is Haley actually likes deers, so if she found out she was eating them she would freak out. Never mind, I'll just inspect it and see for myself. Oh. That's not going to be good. I watch her squint her eyes. Just a second later I watch her mouth hang open in total shock. A second later she spits out the food and begins to gag. Talk about a waste of food. She has been the sensitive type to animals. While she likes meat, she doesn't like where it comes from. She also refuses to be a vegan. From what she told me it's because she wouldn't be able to hold herself back from eating meat. I like protein myself, and I couldn't imagine being a vegan. I have a lot of respect for vegans too. It takes a lot of willpower to completely shut out meat and only live on meat substitutes. Don't waste food like that, Haley. I know that you love deer and have never had any. However, this is essential nutrients that we can't get anywhere else right now, so either deer or you starve. She looks at me in fury. She winds her fist up for a punch, but remembers what happens when she punches me. The next time I hunt I'll try and make sure it isn't a deer. So just sit back down and eat your food. She stops shaking in anger and sits back down. She stares at the meat in her hand and reluctantly starts eating again. We eat in silence and enjoy the warm night. I lay on my back and look at the stars through the trees. Do you think Mom and Dad are doing all right without us? I'm worried that we left way too soon. My sister begins to voice her concerns for our family. I know my parents, and while it'll be hard getting over us leaving, they'll eventually get back on track. Los Angeles is a big city. Do you think they might have found any friends? Our hometown is big and they had plenty of friends before we were born. I know some of Mom and Dad's friends, but for all I know none of them played Ancient's World at any point in time. If Mom and Dad do have any friends left, it would be people on the younger side. LA was both a great and bad place to grow up, and sometimes I regret having to live there for my entire life. The things I learned from being an LA native have served me a lot in life, but there are many things I wish to forget. I take a deep breath and exhale. Mom and Dad are going to be fine. They will be learning a new style of life, and that's a good thing. Marcus is still there with them, so it's not like all their kids are gone. We'll see them once the teleporters are fixed on their side. While it will be a while, it shouldn't be longer than a year before everything is back to the way it was. Many things have changed, and what I just said is also subject to change. I look over to my sister and see that she is trying to find something else to talk about. While we are brother and sister, that doesn't mean that we know everything about each other. If you want to ask me anything at all, feel free to, Haley. I know we didn't spend a lot of time together as we got older, but I'm still your brother and I love you. We were inseparable growing up, that was until you started going through changes. You made everyone miserable. I laugh hard as I say that last bit. She truly did make it hard on everyone when she started puberty. One of the biggest problems were all the boys coming over to play. Dad would send them home quicker than Haley could protest. You should know better than to say that to a woman, Sarah. This is why you don't have a girlfriend, you don't know how to stop playing people. Others don't see it, but I do. You are a control freak and a manipulator. I don't know how you became so good at it, but sometimes it scares me. When I told her she could talk about anything, I wasn't expecting this. I guess I should be more sensitive to people. I didn't know Haley saw me like that. There is always room for growth and change. So I'll try and work on that. Chapter 126, The 14,000-Mile Journey 3. I look at my sister as we sit around the campfire. I have to take what she said seriously. When I think about it, she is completely right about me being a control freak and a manipulator, and I have been blind to it. I don't want them to ever figure out what happened to the old future us. If they do, it could destroy their psyches. I'm sorry, Haley, I didn't know I looked like that in your eyes. It's just something I developed over time to protect myself, from pretty much everything human. I use it to keep people at a distance in many a way. You won't believe me when I say this, Haley, but I've seen and done shit you wouldn't believe. I'd be lying if I didn't know I was twisted in ways. Some might even consider me a monster. All I can really do is hope that she learns that I can't change overnight. My head is a dangerous place, and I hate spending a lot of time thinking about the old. I keep staring at her waiting for her reaction. She looks me in the eyes. She wavers and looks away. I'm sorry Sarah, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't even consider what changed you. It's like you woke up one day and carried a lifetime of bad things in your eyes. You still acted like the same Sarah, and you have always been this way. It's when Ancient's world came into your life, when this place became a thing you really morphed. I have no room to talk really. What can the failure of a big sister say? I wonder if my other family members seen this. Haley has been someone who can see me clearly for my good and bad. My parents are too proud of me to see what Haley does, so their perspective is warped. I don't think she should say that about herself. I get up and walk over to her. I sit next to her as she cries into her knees as she hugs them. There is something you need to know, Haley. In the end, when it's all said and done, everyone is a failure. She looks up at me with red puffy eyes. She is struggling with many things. Stuff I couldn't hope to understand. I don't know what's in someone's heart or mind. Every person has regrets, sorrow, pain. It's not exclusive to certain people, Haley. The richest and most successful people from Earth all have problems. Failure is okay, and you should know that everyone you think is successful was at the same point like you. Either in a relationship, a business, or others things. You aren't supposed to be perfect. I see her tears fall heavy after my words. I can't say they are wise or the answer to her problems, because I don't know. If I think I'm a sage with infinite wisdom and knowledge, then I'm the biggest fool. I can only speak about what I experienced, and I've failed so much. If I held on to it as hard as Haley, I would have killed myself long ago. What happened to you, Sarah? You can tell me anything and I won't speak about it with anyone. I'm not a gossip girl. You can share your pain with the people that love you, that's one of the reasons they are there. I can only hope one day you are comfortable enough to tell me what really happened to you. Even with a divine class, you still know way too much. I chuckle and wrap my arm around her. I give her a one-armed hug. I have things to learn from her too, and she is right. I could open up and let my family in, but even if it's right, it's not what I want. Another characteristic I hate about myself is the selfishness. I look into the fire and think about everything that Haley has said. I'm not as great as my parents see me as, and I'm hoping I can destroy that image for them. Living with that image isn't something I can allow. The truth behind me isn't something I can explain to you, not until you are strong enough to protect my truth. The things I'm hiding will change everything more than they already have. Even after all this shit, there is still stuff that would blow your mind. Don't mess with things you don't understand. I made that mistake too many times. A poor man's poet, but I'm a poor man in heart. Quite pretentious of me to say that's poetic. Another quality. Narcissism. I stand up and make my way into the tent and lay down on the furs and blankets. I stare up at the ceiling of the tent and sigh. I'm a totally fucked up person, and I didn't want to acknowledge that. Haley helped me, and now I'm faced with this mirror, showing my true self. A thief who stole someone else's life and destiny. I hear steps approach the tent and I see my sister walk in. I'm not sure if she still has anything to talk about this, but I'm going to enjoy the silence while I can. She lays down next to me and stares up to the same spot I am. You sure do stink. You need a shower, little brother. I chuckle and roll my eyes. I'm sure she is becoming rancid herself, but that isn't something I should talk about. I close my eyes and relax. My mind is heavy, my body isn't though. There are many things that trouble me, and many things that trouble my sister. Two peas in a pod us, we really are brother and sister. I can't wait till I can scrub all this dirt and sweat off. I hope that I can at least bathe in a stream or something, just to get the worst of it off. I hope tomorrow we'll finally come across some water. I'd hate to have to drink my own pee. I give my honest response, and I begin to try and sleep. This might be the first good night of sleep I'll get. I feel my sister roll on her side and turn her back to me. I relax my mind and empty all thoughts. I see and think nothing. The silence and never-ending infinity relaxes my mind. The solitude in my mind bring me sleep and I rest the best since coming here. As everyone is sleeping in Ancient's world, others are beginning their work. One of these night owls is Wilted Rose. The reports that we have found our city's teleporter are true. What makes this complicated is the things we need to fix it. They are really obscure and difficult things to get, most I've never heard or seen. On the very bright side, we are one step closer to getting back. I've even found some of my guild members. In a guild of millions, some would be considered a little over 1,000. The players are motivated to start grinding for the things we need. We have an announcement scheduled for tomorrow and all the players will hear the things we need to collect. They are expected to write them down in their personal journals. I stand up from my desk and make my way out of my room. I want to start as soon as possible, and with everyone working together we'll be able to find the less obscure ones in a couple days. My city has a higher population, and I hope that smaller cities aren't as hard as ours. If they are, it's going to take much more time. I make my way onto the street and begin to walk. I look up at the stars and enjoy them. I never thought I'd see an unpolluted sky, and I never seen such a beautiful night. Stars and galaxies are everywhere, and it makes me feel so small. Nothing can make you feel more insignificant than the size of a universe. I bring my attention back to the road and see that other players are also doing work. The people who prefer the night are coming out, and with people working around the clock, this is a sign of great potential. Out of all the people that could be leaders in this city, I'm glad that I don't have to take a public stand. While I'm a leader, I'm not the one who talks and communicates with the masses. There is another big guild in my city and its leader has decided to take the spotlight. More power to him for that, but I don't want that. I can get more done if I'm not being slowed down with questions and scared players. The ones who are too scared to help will eventually get up. Many of the problems that I've come across is others feeding on their fellow players. Pikers are becoming a huge problem, and I don't have a clue on how to stop them. They are clever in their guerrilla tactics, and they strike hard and fast. Using the environment for their ambushes, quiet and genius really. Whoever is leading them sure knows what they are doing, and I want them gone. With so many players dying and going through the painful resurrection process, they don't want to leave the safety of their holes. Hiding in every crack and crevice like rats. They are going to be something I'll have to deal with eventually. Chapter 127, The 14,000-Mile Journey 4. I feel the morning heat and see some sunshine beaming on the tent. I lean up and my body pops as I do. I look over to my sister and she is sleeping. At one point she woke me up in the middle of the night from her farting. How can such a beautiful person release such horrible smells? I can't fathom how she farted so much when we've barely eaten anything on this trip. I open the entrance of the tent and get out. I walk over to the campfire and see that the charcoal's still hot. I put in some twigs and blow some wind on it gently. A little fire starts and I help it grow. I sit down and rub my neck and head. The perfect temperature for a morning is something that I didn't think possible on this continent. For all I know, this nice weather is seasonal like other continents, another reason to get back to my original continent. I get up and do some stretches to loosen up my body. Tent or not, I still slept on the ground. I hear some rustling behind me and I turn my head. I look at my sister as she struggles to get the gunk out of her eyes. She isn't a morning person and I'm surprised she is even up. Makes me wonder if anything is wrong. You all right? You look like you had a rough night. I know you've never been camping, but this is kind of pathetic. She gives me a mean look at my little joke. I could have worded that better, but she gets the idea. Well, sleepyhead. You just going to stare at me with those dead eyes, or are you going to have some breakfast? I open my inventory and toss her some of the deer meat she hates oh so much. She stands up fully and walks over to me and joins me around the campfire on this great morning. She stands next to me and stares into the fire as she quickly devours the deer meat. As much as I hate to say this, but this is pretty good for dried meat. I'll never look at deer the same, and that's your fault, you jackass. There's the Haley I know. She gives me an eye smile and continues to eat. When are we going to leave? I'd like to wake up before you start flying at 430 miles per hour. I look at her in surprise. She did think about letting me fly faster, and now our trip should be faster. More ground covered faster is great for multiple reasons, and the biggest one right now is our water situation. It's been more than uncomfortably long since our last drink. So finding water today is a must. I finish my food a little after she finishes hers. We'll leave in an hour, so make sure you wake up in that time. I'll go see if I can find us some more food. I toggle my wings back on and they sprout from my back. I burst from my spot in speed and start to weave through trees. I make sure I mark on my map where Haley is before I leave. I'd like to find us some more food if possible, even just a small animal would be great. I search for a little bit and find nothing. Talk about a waste of time. I make my way back to Haley and see that she is full of energy like her usual self. Come in, we are leaving. Look out for water, I'll take us to it once you see it. I walk over to the tent and quickly disassemble it. I put everything in my inventory and walk in front of my sister. I kneel down and wait for her to climb on. I feel her grab on and I wait until she has a good grip. I'm ready, let's get a move on. I take off at her words and launch upwards. We reach the clouds quickly and I level out so she can sit up. If I can't handle full speed I'll let you know. 430 miles per hour might be too much for me to handle. I nod my head slightly and I burst off in speed. I reach max speed fast and now we are zooming. I feel her lean down and lay on my back. It's too fast for her to sit up now, but she is doing a good job handling it. I'll keep my eyes out for any water sources so she doesn't have to look for them. I don't know how long Haley can handle flying this fast, but I'll cover as much distance as possible before she asks me to stop. I look down to the ground as I fly us and I still haven't seen any water. I dive down and get under the clouds. Haley squeals in fear, but she isn't going to get mad at me flying at this speed. She wouldn't risk falling off from getting mad. I'll be flying under the clouds to see if I can find any water that will be good. You just keep your head down and tell me when you can't handle this speed anymore, all right? I'll slow down immediately. I feel her nod her head against my back. We have a very long journey ahead of us. If we can fly all day at this speed it shouldn't take us more than a couple days to reach the marker. If you can handle this speed all day we'll get there in the quickest possible time. She shakes her head no this time. That's okay, asking that is a lot and she couldn't handle it. As Sarah and Haley continue to fly. There is a meeting at the Church of Light, and the Pope is the one opening this meeting with some concerns. This war is going nowhere and we have no idea where the monsters are hiding within the kingdom of Alsoma. It's like they just went silent and that is worrying. There is no conflict anywhere on any of the fronts, and there is no new leads. We have a list of targets to go after thanks to the strike group. It's completely useless without leaders to find though. I should start this meeting and get the debates over with. There is no good news. We have no idea where the monsters went or where they are hiding. The longer this war goes on, the more people that are at risk of an attack. They are planning something and we have no clue what about. This leave of absence from the battlefield will undoubtedly bring something sinister to the war. Now I want to hear news from the rest of you. I look at the leaders gathered here and see that many are talking to their assistants right now while their holograms are muted. The first to start talking is Gregory. I can always count on him being ready to lead in any way. The kingdoms in the coalition have nothing to report regarding the war. However, we want to know why the church is announcing things about the new people when they have obviously disappeared. That is a good question, and one I don't have an answer for. We simply follow the instructions given to us and announce it. I was planning on using them for the war and saving casualties on our side. The fact that they come back to life is something this war desperately needs. We can save hundreds of thousands if we can utilize the new people. I know that Gregory is looking out for the masses, but even if they do resurrect we can't force them to help. We could spark a war with immortal warriors and I don't want that. I look at Gregory and he understands the meaning behind my look. I stand up and walk to the center of the stage. The new people can be used to help us, but we can't force them to help. Most leaders give bitter looks and resent my words. We need to give them a reason to help. Rewards and land. Anything that holds significant value. If we provoke the new people and make them our enemies, we'll have a worse foe than the monsters. When they return we should begin asking, and please be nice. New people have an ability to grow very strong very fast, and if we do involve them we should make the alliance last after the war. Many of the leaders don't like my words, but they agree with them. The holograms turn off one by one and I return to my seat to relax. What Fenrir said has me thinking. Lucis' reports are always thorough, and the fact that they ran into the divine wolf wasn't a coincidence. Luring out the sun with rewards and fame isn't something that we should have done. We should have considered the fact that he wanted to stay hidden. If we respected that, we could have built a better public image. Now we look like desperate fools trying to find the most sacred thing on Gaia. We have shamed ourselves and we have no one to blame but ourselves. If I do live long enough to see the sun, I'll die a happy man, and I'll be one of the luckiest popes in the line. Chapter 128, The 14,000-Mile Journey v. We have been flying for a few hours now. Haley has done a good job at letting me fly us at max speed, but I think she has had enough of this. I slow down and get under a 100 miles per hour. Her body isn't as strong as mine, so flying at that 430 miles per hour for a prolonged amount of time isn't good. You can sit up now, we have covered a good amount of distance. Let me know if you need anything. She sits up and stretches her upper body. I look down towards the ground and keep looking for the elusive water. We fly a few more minutes and I see a break in the forest. This break is from a nice stream of water. Hang on, I'm diving down. She holds on tight and I dive. Once close enough to the ground I stop and land us. I look at the stream of water and can see clear flowing water. Water this clear is sure to be clean. I dip my hand in it and bring some water up to my face. I clean my face and check if the water is salty or dirty. However, it's completely clean and safe to drink. Haley walks over to my side and also begins to drink the water. This is some of the cleanest water I have ever tasted. I wish water from Earth was this clean, we wouldn't have had a food crisis. One of the many things that we failed to do was keep the water clean on Earth. It led to catastrophic effects. Put that together with the huge population and you got a massive problem. I dip my hand in and take a full drink. She is right, this is some of the cleanest water I have ever seen or tasted. Science did many things for the human race, and one of them was water, a purification process that made water drinkable. Even though the water would technically be clean, it was still filled with chemicals from the cleaning process. How long can we stay here, Sarah? I'd like to at least take a bath and try to not stink so much. You wanted one too? I nod my head yes and begin to unequip my items. My sister looks at me stupid as I remain in nothing other than my underwear. I dive into the cool water and it chills me. I make a bigger splash since my wings are still out. You should try out this water. It feels so damn good. I encourage my sister and she uses her hand to indicate for me to turn around. I do so and after a couple seconds she jumps in too. Doesn't it feel great? This water is a totally different experience to the water from Earth. She looks at me with a smile and proceeds to splash water at me. I don't take any form of competition laying down. I retaliate and splash her too. She is squealing from the water getting in her eyes. That's a move I learned from Dad. He always knew how to get you right in the eyes and make them burn. I stop as she surrenders and cleans out her eyes from the abuse. I could never beat Dad when it came to water fights. He was a bullseye shot for the eyes. She just sighs and relaxes in the calm stream. It's just the perfect depth for all the fun you can have in the water. I start to scrub my armpits and thoroughly clean them. I make sure to get my hair cleaned too. It feels so great to be cleaning myself. Sarah, can you turn around? I'm not wearing a bra and I want to clean my areas as well. I don't question anything and I turn around as I continue to clean myself. I dive underwater and open my eyes. Even though it's a little blurry, I can see pretty good. I dive down and reach the bottom of the stream. I start lifting rocks like I did when I was a kid. The rocks are mossy and slippery, but some of them have crawdads under them. I toss them into my inventory whenever I find any. I don't need to go up for water anytime soon. Since my endurance is so high, I can hold my breath for much longer. I hear muffles calling for me above the water, so I shoot up to the surface using my wings to go faster. You idiot! I thought you were drowning. My sister splashes water in my face as I look at her. I guess I made her worried or something. You're my only ticket out of here, so don't go dying on me. Never mind, she wasn't worried for the right reasons. I splash some water her way in retaliation for her inconsiderate words. How stupid are you? You really think I'd drown myself or something? You need to work on trusting me. I can handle holding my breath. She gives me an angry look and starts to splash me over and over again. I return fire and eventually overwhelm her. I use my stats and wings to make my splashes more powerful. You didn't win the first time, so what makes you think you can win now? Sometimes I wonder where your head goes when you get angry. She takes that insult harder than the rest and turns around and leaves the stream. She covers her top half since she doesn't have anything covering that. Luckily she has underwear. However, they are the kind that grandmas wear. I didn't think you were the type to wear oldie underwear. Learn something new every day. When those words leave my mouth, she stops and turns to me in fury. She gives me a fierce gaze and balls up her fist. If you weren't so much stronger than me, I'd beat the crap out of you. You are the meanest little brother I've ever seen or heard about. As she flings her arms around in anger, she fails to realize nothing is covering her anymore. I've never been attracted to my sister and never will. Even now when I'm getting a full view of her rather big rack. She makes men fall for her fast, but I could never and will never see her like that. I turn away and stop looking out of courtesy since she obviously forgot about it. I swear sometimes I think you antagonize me to see what kind of reaction you can get out of me. It's so annoying. I clear my throat and to get her to notice what she is doing. However, that just makes her go off more. So I'm going to have to point it out to her. I look her dead in the eye and purposefully shift between her eyes and her chest. She looks at me in confusion and looks down as well. That's when her face goes pale. She covers her chest, turns around, and runs away. She disappears into the trees and probably won't be coming back anytime soon. Geez, you would think that she'd be more careful with things like that. I know that she's had boyfriends before, but if she is such a prude, it makes me wonder if all her stories are lies. For such a shameless person, that was a very shameful reaction. Perhaps it's because I'm her brother. I wouldn't want her seeing my thing no matter how confident about it I am. I wouldn't run away like that though, a mystery of the female gender. I relax in the water and forget about the events that have just occurred. I escape into my mind thinking about the problems I have to face. The more I think about my Divine Mana Aura quest, the harder it seems. I don't think anyone in my old future had a Mana Aura above Legacy quality. The few that did have Legacy quality Mana Auras had their stats and health at insane levels. Completely unbeatable compared to ordinary players. My old Mana Aura was of rare quality. It was strong, but I'd be beaten a lot. I wonder what will happen to my stats once I begin to control my Divine Mana Aura. On a scale of 0% control to 100%, having just 1% control will boost my health and mana by millions. The stats bonuses don't start coming in until 20% control. However, the higher quality the Mana Aura, the harder it is to gain more control over it. I have no clue how difficult it will be. It didn't take me too long to gain control over my rare Mana Aura, but this is in an entirely different league of power. I can't screw up getting my hands on it too, I'll only have one shot at getting it. The system was adamant on letting me know that I won't get another chance like this. I've been in the water long enough, so it's time to get out and dry off. I exit the water, and once I reach the shore I smell my armpits and they don't reek anymore. I'd better make sure Haley is alright as well. She might be embarrassed, but she shouldn't have run off too far on her own. Chapter 129, The 14,000-Mile Journey 6. I re-equip my armor now that I'm completely dry. I look in the direction that Haley ran off to and start walking the same way as well. After walking a couple minutes I find her full dressed leaning against a tree. I walk up beside her and lean against it and stare off into the direction she is. Nothing but more trees and mountains where she is looking. You don't have to be embarrassed, Haley. I get that your little brother seeing that is weird, but it's not like it's going to affect anything in our lives. In the end they are just hunks of fat, right? I try and make sure she knows that everything is cool, but after the hunks of fat comment she gets up and looks at me with frustration. She looks ready to start talking or yelling again, but instead she takes a breath to calm herself down. I don't know what she is about to say, but any guesses I have on woman, it's not going to make much sense to me. Truly wonderful creations, but very confusing sometimes. She gently whacks my arm so she doesn't hurt herself this time. Never call a woman's breasts hunks of fat, Sarah. That's even ruder than seeing them on accident. I just sigh and take this as a lesson learned. I should know more about women with an older sister and mother that require a certain way of interaction with them. However, I've come to learn that it's true what they say. Every woman is different, and with different subtleties you have to learn. I don't like that you saw such a private part of me, but what's done is done. So the only question I have left is, when are we heading out? She wants to get a move on as well. It sucks that I'm not a craftsman or blacksmith. If I was, I could make us water skins to carry water with us. It's a big problem. This stream doesn't head in the same direction as the marker. It's curvy and heads off into another direction. For all I know, this is going to be the last time we come across fresh water. It's just going to be something we'll deal with when the time comes. We still have many hours left of daylight and I want to get a move on. We can leave now. The stream goes off into another direction. Hopefully we run into something that is on the way, but I doubt we'll get this lucky again. I won't be flying a full speed since you handled that a lot today. We will just cruise and make progress. If you have any ideas on how to take water with us, I'm all ears. Since neither of us can craft anything, we can't make containers or water skins for water. She nods her head as she listens. If she has an idea on how to take water with us, that is great, but I don't see a possible way. Every option requires something neither of us have. After a few minutes of watching her ponder ideas, she shakes her head no. Looks like neither of us have any ideas on how to take water with us. I hope we get lucky again and find water while we are flying. Preferably closer to the marker. I'm almost certain an ocean separates us from the other continents. It's the language the system has used up to this point that puts this idea together. I kneel down and let Haley climb onto my back. I burst off the ground and we are already above the clouds. You live in a dream, Sarah. I wish I had everything you have right now. Talk about being lucky, you must have a horseshoe up your ass or something to be this lucky. I'm kinda pissed that it doesn't run in the blood. It's like all of our family's luck was just given to you instead. She says all this as she holds out her arms, enjoying the wind and puffy clouds as we go through them. If she knew the truth, then she wouldn't be saying that. I have suffered greatly, and the only reason I'm here in the first place is because of luck. So in a way she is right, but the shit I've been through isn't something even close to lucky. I hope I get to fly like this one day. Being trapped to the ground is a joke after experiencing something this amazing. I don't know what the future holds for my sister after I leave her, but I do know that when she sets her mind to something, it take a lot for her to quit. She is going to make a man both happy and worried one day. Hopefully she opens her heart to someone and learns to not push them away. She has always been so guarded from bad experiences with guys. Her old future was something I was intent on destroying, and I have done just that, so I hope to one day meet the man she loves and shake his hand. I'm sure you will find a way, Haley. After you get your legendary class battle mind, you could use your authority to find out if there is a way. So don't be discouraged by my class's features. A class and skills are nothing without people to use them. She stays silent after those words. As Sarah and Haley fly to their destination, the other 3 members of the T.A.W family are having fun themselves. Particularly Violet, she is fighting a monster with her husband and youngest son. They are trying to level up and reach the higher leveled monster farming areas. They have all leveled up a few times. They are still grinding till they hit level 30. I'm so glad that my husband and youngest son are with me. It devastated me when my 2 oldest left, but the pain is slowly fading. Having fun and spending time with my husband has really helped. We have been careful in our grinding for levels, that's what the younger ones call it anyway. We only go after monsters that are the same level or weaker than us, and while it's not as effective, it's much safer and the best of doing things. I don't want any harm to come to my family, and that means taking things slow and steady. Okay, Marcus. Finish it off with a fireball. My husband yells the command to Marcus and he obeys. Marcus has been doing an amazing job at listening and helping in any way we allow him. The monster dies in a blaze of fire and we all get good amounts of EXP. I walk over to my husband as he takes a seat to catch his breath. Him and I take the frontal assault while Marcus helps from behind. Marcus runs over to us and sits with us. I pick him up and place him in my lap. You did wonderful, sweetie. Your magic is getting better and better. Soon you will be able to handle monsters all by yourself and won't need me. I'll admit, the thought of Marcus growing up and leaving me isn't something that I like. That time is a long way off though, so I have nothing to worry about right now. I look over to my husband and he is just smiling stupidly at us. He really adores all of us and would do anything to keep us safe. I love him more than he'll ever know. Honey, do you think we should head back and sell some of the stuff we got today? I heard the market has gotten more food since players are hunting animals now. I watch my husband's eyes light up at the mention of food. We wouldn't be able to provide for ourselves if it wasn't for the items we got from the system after we cleared that dungeon. The effects of our epic grade swords are a real game changer. I didn't think that there was a huge gap in power between grades, but I was wrong. I think that's a perfect idea. We can pick up some food and water while we are there. There are things I want to see at the market as well. I heard that a person is selling information on dungeons. I know what you said about us going into dungeons at this level, but please just consider the fact that we have a great opportunity to get stronger faster. I instantly give a disapproving look and just shake my head no. I'm a part of this decision-making process too, and I say we are checking out the information. I expect you to respect that. He stands up and walks away before I can even register what just happened. As much as I want to disagree with him, he is right. He is a part of this family too, and I need to listen to his opinions too. I've been a control freak for a while now and I need to let up. I stand up and follow my husband. Market, here we come. Chapter 130, The 14,000-Mile Journey 7. I'm worried about Haley. She has been quiet this entire ride today. It's only a few hours till nightfall and she has barely said anything. You doing all right, Haley? You usually talk my ear off. If there is anything I can help you with, let me know. I try and let her know that I'm there for her, but it's up to her to talk to me. I feel her shift slightly and then I hear her sigh. She must be in her head thinking about things. I personally believe that's one of the most dangerous places to be. Getting stuck in your head can lead to many horrible things. I'm going to ask you a question, Sarah, and I want you to be completely honest with me. I don't know what she wants to ask, but I should try and help. I nod my head and she takes a breath. How much do you really know about Ancient's world? I know you know things that shouldn't be known. I know you said you don't want me asking these types of questions, but I'm worried about you. I've made an impression that I know more than I should. In truth, I do know more than I should, but that isn't something I want to talk about. She is going to be upset with my answer. I'm not going to tell you anything about that, Haley. There are things that are better left unknown. If you keep asking me stuff like this, I won't talk to you for the rest of our trip. I actually wouldn't mind that after all her incessant prattling. She stays quiet after I give her my answer. Hopefully she isn't too pissed. I look down and I can see a stream of water. It looks clean from here, but I won't know unless I get close. I dive down without warning and Haley screams in fear. Consider that punishment for asking questions I told you not to ask. We quickly land and she hops off me and begins to dry heave. Can't throw up when there isn't anything to throw up. I walk over to the stream while Haley gets over the dive. I dip my hand in and take a sip. It's clean fresh water. It's really clear too. I begin taking swig after swig. We had water a little while ago, but it's nice to have even more. Haley walks up beside me and starts to drink some too. I'll set up camp. You just do something. She looks at me very mad and annoyed. She is just along for the ride and I'm taking care of everything. I set up camp and set up a fire too. Using a stone and sliding it against my sword is perfect for making sparks. Soon I have the fire up and I'm relaxing. Haley walks over and lays down right next to me. The sun hasn't fully set yet, still a couple hours. I just stare up at the passing clouds. Why do you treat me so badly? My calm thoughts are interrupted by Haley. Her question is something many siblings ask each other, and it's always the same reason. Because you started it, and in reality nobody remembers who started it, only that it was started. I take a breath in through my nose and out through my mouth. You are my annoying big sister. It's my job to treat you badly as your little brother. So why are you asking these questions? I genuinely want to know why she is in such a negative mindset now. I have a few guesses, but nothing definite. I can't know what goes through my sister's mind. All I can do is be me, and that has to be enough. I look over at her and I see she is on the verge of tears. Now that isn't right. What are you crying for? She looks at me in anger. She leans up and kicks my head. Of course it doesn't hurt or even move me. I look at her as she tries to stop the tears. I miss it. I can't find the answer with only 3 words. I lean up and look at her for a more elaborate explanation. Such a guy, I miss Earth and my old life, you idiot. Oh. That isn't something I can relate to. While our vast fortune and new life were excellent, I wasn't attached to it. Simply because I didn't value that lifestyle as much as most. She sees my unchanging look and just groans. I'm getting tired of her attitude, but I'm not going to drill into her. Everyone is different and deals with change differently. What do you want me to say, Haley? That I miss it. I don't miss Earth, and that's because Ancient's world has been more of a home to me than Earth ever was. I understand it's not the same for you, so it's just something you'll have to get through. She looks at me in some sort of emotion, maybe pity? I haven't seen her make that face before. I lean back on the ground and look up at the clouds as the fire crackles. I hear my sister's sniffles and small hiccups. I suddenly feel her wrap her arms around me and hold me. I'm about to ask what's wrong, but she stops me. I just need someone to hug right now, and I get you might not want to, but I really need it. So please just shut up and let me have some sort of human contact. So that's what it is. It's clearer now, but it would have been nice to ask me first. I just lean back and relax. If she needs to lean on me or hug me, that's fine. I would too if I were in her shoes. I'm glad I'm not anymore. I've become callous, yes, but I'm still a person who knows what people need. I close my eyes, enjoying the nice breeze and warm temperature. Listen to what I'm about to say, Haley. I can do many things right, and many things wrong. I'll always know how to be your brother. I don't know much about women or relationships. I do know how to apologize though. So I'm sorry for how I'm acting with you. I treated you like person my words can't hurt. That's on me. That's the best I can come up with. I don't hear any response from her, and that's perfect for me. I soon fall asleep as I lay by the campfire. I don't have any dreams, but I feel my sister pulling on my cheek. "Come in, let's get in the tent," she sounds groggy. I open my eyes slightly and see that it's dark out and the fire is gone. I get up and follow Haley into the tent. I lay on the soft blankets and furs and feel sleep coming again. Haley holds onto my arm as I use my other as my pillow. Not a snuggler, my ass. As all the players are either sleeping or grinding into the night, there is a conversation in Overworld. This conversation is between Archangel Michael and his father. Dad is adamant on making the people from Earth different from the rest on Gaia, and I can see why. I don't question anything my dad does, or why he does it. Those kinds of thoughts are what led to my brother's rebellion. It's not forbidden to question him, I just don't, because in the end it's always the right choice. How long do you think it will take for Angelus to adjust to her new authority? You have given her much command. I ask my father as he sits on his throne with his eyes closed. I hear my father laugh lightly. Michael, the people from Earth will be what stops your brother's schemes. I could do it myself, but we can't always interfere with mortal worlds. When your brother starts his assault on Gaia, these players, as they say, will be a force he can't beat. Angelus will prepare them for that war when it comes, and Sarah will be the most important figure in this coming tribulation. I look forward to his choices, he hasn't disappointed since his wish. I nod my head and look off into the landscape of Overworld. Sarah will be important, no doubt, but my brother is not who he used to be. He is twisted and corrupted. I regret deeply what he decided to do, but he brought it on himself. I wonder how far he is into his plans so far, and I can tell that he has chosen his champion in this fight. Do you think that the people from Earth will ever be accepted, Father? I look at him and see his eyes still closed. All he does is nod his head silently. The faster the players get stronger, the better. I know Angelus is in charge of the players, but she isn't the machine she used to be. She has been showing a lot of favor towards Sarah, and while that's understandable, it could lead to bigger problems. I should talk to her about that, and I hope she listens. Sarah isn't strong yet. Compared to his fellow Earthlings, he is unbeatable. Compared to his future challenges, he doesn't stand a chance. He has time, and that's good. I'll be rooting for you, Sarah, my son.